So government is not actually doing nothing in terms of this because they know that coal mining industry in South Africa is crucial, and they have to support Eskom. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that's impressive. Right on the dot. So that I don't waste time, I will now introduce Mr. Mashudu Ramano. He's with a founder and CEO of Mitochondria, an energy company that's very innovative. He will tell you all about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Mtombeni washang. I think at the start, I need to pay tribute to the executives of the Black Business Council and the president, and Tate Khanki Matabane, and my friend here, Tsakane, and I must say, I am extremely impressed with Masedi Sisele. I think she has done a great job. I want to take a slightly different tag to the usual story that we have here in South Africa around energy. And I think if you listen to the Director General and you read the IRP document, you would conclude that energy in South Africa is fossil fuels, which is a wrong. Energy is much bigger than fossil fuels. Actually, when you look at the records, fossil fuels are an offshoot, a byproduct of the energy of the sun. So at the end of the day, as a country, we need to start saying, are we going to leverage all the energy potential that we have in the country? I want to show you a video of a product that we are developing, my company is developing. The company is called Mitochondria. And mitochondria is a biological term, an organelle inside each and every one of us. We have, if you assume that we have 100 trillion cells, each one of us, in each one of those cells, there is a power generation plant. And that power generation plant is called mitochondria. And I chose the name mitochondria to show where the energy system globally is going. The energy system is moving away from centralized, complicated, complex systems to more simpler energy generation technologies. And I'll show you just now. I think they can show you the video. It's a 2-minute video. This product is a 50 kilowatt system. It will be manufactured in Vanderbijlpark, just outside of Boipatong. We will employ 400 people. We will produce high-tech power generation technology for the future. No moving parts, only we take hydrogen and we produce water, electricity, and heat. I think when we talk energy, we should open our minds to the possibilities that are there. And that's the message I would like. I don't think we want to, we can say a lot about the IRP document, which in my view is an infrastructure plan, supply infrastructure plan, rather than an energy policy document.
Thank you. Yes? Okay. Say? Is there a problem? Okay. Thank you, colleagues. That was really, really impressive, I must say. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's move on to Mr. Sipho Musai, who is the CEO of Rand Water. It will be interesting to hear the perspective of Rand Water from a self-sufficiency point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As I've been introduced, my name is Sipho Musai. I'm the Group Chief Executive of Rand Water. I'm in the business of selling the byproduct and the Mashudu. So I hope he'll give it to me for free so that I can make money out of it. Before I really dive into the subject matter insofar as energy and transition is concerned, I thought I should just quickly introduce Rand Water and then talk about the nexus and how we plan to make this transition going forward. It is important that I, share with you who we are, because it has become a norm that everything that has to do with water, it's synonymous to Rand Water. We know we are big, but in essence, we play a particular role in the water provision in the country, and I thought I should just quickly contextualize that. We are a state-owned entity of a 3B schedule in terms of the Public Finance Management Act. We get our mandate from the Water Services Act, that of providing water services to water services institution. Over the years, that has been a bulk provision. As a 3B entity, we are in essence self-sufficient, reliable. We are 121 years this year. We pride ourselves in the history of, in that 120 years, in fact 121 years and still counting, we have not gotten a cent from government. We have not received a bailout, and we remain profitable 120 years later. I can say one necessity, as I did it is important that we have this understanding, because if you go about, people will give an impression that everything that is state-owned enterprise is doom and gloom. That's not true. So we have done that very well. So we are a water trading entity. We buy water from the Department of Water and Sanitation, and we sell it to municipalities in bulk, and the municipalities distribute. So every single time when you don't have water, you remember, you don't pay me, you pay your municipality. Ask your municipality, not me. We supply bulk water to municipalities, and then they distribute it. We do so through about 60 reservoirs or storage facilities. We built the biggest post-tension pre-stressed concrete reservoir in the world here in Ekurhuleni. Last year in 2023, we've got about 60 of those. In the last 5 years, we roll out close to 600 kilometers of large diameter pipes in our area of operation. We built last year, you'll not see this in the media, the biggest purification works in the last 20 years in the continent in Vereeniging at 600 megaliters, which is 600 million liters of water a day to augment the system. We supply about, we supply about 18, water to about 80 million consumers. So because we are self-sustainable, and we provide water to the municipalities and play this critical role, we need to be paid and paid on time. And these are some of the challenges that we're currently experiencing, because as we do so, as we provide this water, we have to pump water from our purification works, booster station, and secondary, tertiary stations to put water into the reservoirs. Just very quickly, fortunately my time is not running, I have more than enough. Just very quickly to talk about some of the challenges that we're currently experiencing. That has been called water crisis in South Africa, and I think that needs to be contextualized. Yes, we have challenges. As the minister is saying, we don't have a raw water supply challenges. The dams are full. We don't have a bulk water challenges. In fact, here in Gauteng, we supply close to 300 liters per person per day. The well average is 173. So we supply so much water that the municipalities lose about 1.7 billion liters of water that we provide. So we don't have a bulk water. In fact, we have a problem of water in abundance to a point that is being lost in our municipality as non-revenue water. So the focus for our sector, it's in these areas, yes, the challenges are there, but they are in the distribution network. Just very quickly, in terms of the energy nexus, we produce or require close to 300 megawatts of electricity a day. We have split that into various nodes. The southern node, this is where you're going to build mitochondria. If you give us reliable electricity, we can talk at the right price, and the north and the midstream. What we have done, because we also wanted to transit over the period of time, we have identified 4 points in our areas of operation to generate electricity from what you call hydropower. As we move water around, that is kinetic energy. Put turbines, convert that into electrical energy to assist us going that. Because we are at the business summit, please keep your eyes in the marketplace. You're going to be going out in the market looking for independent power producers and various stations. These are the opportunities that you can seize to ensure security of supply with respect to water going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I can sense there's a lot more out of that information. So rest assured, we're going to give you time post this, just another round so that you can go into that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Mr. Jacques Devos, who is the CEO of Mezzanine, part of Vodacom Group. Over to you, sir. 7 minutes to you as well. We're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director and Moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts, both our experience as Vodacom and also what we believe can be a contribution towards a sustainable energy value chain. Our business is connecting people, it's our passion, it is our purpose. But without electricity, we can't deliver the megabytes, we can't deliver the minutes. So as Vodacom, we've been indirectly and directly impacted the last couple of years linked to the energy security topic that the DG introduced. We have about 15,500 base stations distributed across the country. We buy electricity from 168 municipalities each month. And in 2023, we had 6,950 hours where we had to provide alternative source of energy. So to translate that into a percentage, that is 69% of hours in a calendar year, which means extra cost from an operating point of view. We burn between 1.2 and 1.6 million liters of diesel each month. We've invested more than 4 billion rand the last 3.5 years in diesel generators, in batteries. And these are investments that we could have allocated from a capital allocation point of view in expanding our network, the reach of the network, in servicing more citizens in South Africa. So when we look at energy security as a customer, we don't just see it as a challenge. We see it as our business, as part of our business, as it should be part of everyone's business in supporting government, Eskom, and all the related parties in working towards a sustainable energy future value chain. So when we look at energy and the endowment that we have as a country, we've heard the benefits of coal, the hydrogen initiative, the sun endowment, the wind we have in South Africa. There's no shortage of energy. What we need to invest in, and this is where we see the role of Vodacom, where we can potentially play a role as an enabler, is to look at the total value chain, not just generation, transmission, distribution, the ability to collect revenue, so revenue assurance, revenue optimization, in order to secure a sustainable energy value chain. So energy security is one key component that we are working closely with Eskom in using digital, IoT, the Internet of Things capabilities, the reach of our network, to allow transitioning to a smart grid. So if we talk a small scale embedded generation, we've seen the increase in rooftop solar. By the end of 2024, we'll have 6 gigawatt of rooftop potential. We see more and more contribution from private IPPs, but if we consider a future mix, energy mix, there is a key role for digital and communication systems to be able to ensure the sustainable transmission and distribution. And to that agenda, we've contributed in developing what is now referred to as a virtual wheeling mechanism, which is a mechanism that allows off-takers with a distributed consumption base. So you think of retailers, the banks, the utility providers. If there's no electrons, there's no water molecules being delivered in the tap. So any service provider with a distributed estate can, with a virtual wheeling mechanism, wheel electrons from point of generation, whether that is Eskom generated or private generated, to the point of consumption. So as part of our purpose agenda, we have a purpose-led priority to be net zero, so to source 100% of our energy to power the network from renewable sources, and to reduce our greenhouse gas emission with 60% on a base load level. So for us as a business, and our long-term incentive is linked to this. So if you look at the incentive scheme of management, is linked to an ESG performance target that we've set for ourselves. And not only do we solve this problem for our own need in ensuring uptime on a base station, on a data center level, the capabilities we invest in are available to use by all businesses in South Africa, from small, medium enterprises that fulfill and play a role in the energy value chain up to our large enterprises. We'll be able to use the connectivity, the IoT, the smart digital solutions that we are introducing and working with Eskom to contribute to a more sustainable energy future value chain. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for my people for keeping the time. Okay, I have a question now that for each of you colleagues. I will start with the DG and say, DG, Lungile said here earlier on that from a transition, we're looking at security, we're looking at tariffs or prices, and decarbonization. Now, my question relates also to your question, which mentioned energy, not just electricity, as a solution in South Africa. What are we doing about other elements of energy? For instance, gas has a contribution with respect to, if we were using indigenous gas like we did with Mosgas in South Africa, that would have an impact on the tariff, that would have an impact a little bit of the decarbonization and security of supply. So what are we doing with respect to that? Thank you.
No, thanks for that question. Specific to gas, as we sit here, I think last week we gazetted a draft gas master plan that we've put out for public comments. Basically, that's our proposal in terms of how we see us as a country developing infrastructure and getting the gas molecules that we need. But I think what we need talks to what Ndate Ramano spoke to around the fact that the IRP and these what we call sector plans are there specifically to drive infrastructure investment in those sectors. What we are working on that we are planning to complete before the end of this year is actually what we call the integrated energy plan, right? Because planning these for these sectors separately is actually not helpful because there is a big interaction between the energy sources. If you think about it, everyone is talking about electric vehicles. What does that mean for the liquid fuels industry, right? So that's what we're actually working on. It's what we need to put in place is the integrated energy plan, which will tell us, for example, what it will do is it will say, if we take a high electricity path as a country, what does that mean from a demand point of view? And what do you need to do to shift the demand and vice versa? And how do you even incorporate new technologies or new sources of energy like hydrogen in the big mix? Yeah.
Thank you, DG. Okay, now my question to Lungile. Lungile, I was impressed by your example that you talked about land reform and where we would be if we had the conducive policies that would enhance the participation of black people in South Africa. Now, my question is, can you expand a little bit on, because I consider that to be a productive use of energy, even though it's not energy directly. If you are going to build a solar panel transmission infrastructure, you need the land to do that. Can you expand on that in terms of opportunities that would make sure that there's productive use of energy for others other than just the producers of electricity? Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. So, you know, the tragedy of South Africa is that we did not benefit from the mining minerals complex, right? There's gold, diamonds underground taken, expropriated to other countries. We still did not even benefit from the agriculture and the fauna, flora on the land. We've passed that. Come the transition, still, that's going to pass us as well. So at this point, what are our options? Because we also cannot participate in this space, and I'm speaking specifically to BBC members here, because the requirements that we place for participants is so high. This is why you do not get local IPPs participating, okay? And for by and large, it's because you want to make sure that these projects take off, and you're looking at specific returns, and I mean, it's a list of things, but it basically means that South Africans cannot participate. Now we have an opportunity where there's constraints in the northern, eastern, western Cape regions. projects need to be built in other areas. I think it's DMRE last year had already said they're going to look at provincial specific bid rounds that will go out to KZN, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, etc. I think one can perhaps argue that we, as people, maybe we are better represented in those areas. So those of you, and this is now maybe insider trading that's a couple of years late, if you can secure land in those areas, do exactly that. But also I want us to look at participation, as Ndato Ramano has been doing for the last couple of years. How do we innovate? How do we play in this space in a meaningful way? There was no need for BE participation in the REAP process. It came about because we couldn't outright buy a stake. What was stopping various funding institutions, lenders, from setting up designated funding? Remember, these are basically risk-free projects. Government is taking all the risk, guarantees, etc. Setting up funding for South African IPPs, I'm not even saying black, white, I'm just saying South African, to participate in this space. It was possible, it was easy, but perhaps it is an unwillingness from our side. Don't tell me about risk. There is no risk. If you look at the IPPs we currently have in this country, I won't mention them by name, all overseas owned. All of their governments funded them to operate in our country. What risk did the Italians, did the French, did the UK, US government not see that our government is seeing and is inhibiting the playing of us in this space?
Thank you, Lungile. My next question is to Mr. Huslaat. The question relates to security of energy. You mentioned that we seem to be mimicking, I'll put it that way, other countries in terms of our strategies and not looking at the impact of that within our own economies. So I would like to know from you, since you are in the coal business, besides the fact that coal is an important, and I'm not saying exclude that, it's an important input to the economy, especially from an energy point of view. If we imagined an economy without coal, what would that mean?
Look, South Africa produces 230 million tons of coal a year. We have 180 coal mines in this country. Industry employs 94,000 people, and it pays about 3.3 billion rand in royalties per annum and 34 billion rand in wages. So it's very critical for the economy of the country. And if we decide to stay away from coal, like Eskom burning coal or Sasol having a similar problem with their Secunda plant, and potentially export can be banned if we follow Europeans, then we're going to end up like closing all these mines, and then 94,000 people, multiply that with 10, so 1 million people will be affected almost, and it's going to be a socio-economic disaster for the country. So we can't afford to do that. I think that's why Minister Mantashe was coming up and saying, look, we have coal mines starting from Bronkhorstspruit up to Piet Retief, and all the way you go to KwaZulu-Natal. They employ people, and they're critical for the economy of those cities, be it Dalmas, Hendrina, Bethel, Sasolburg mentioned, Vereeniging. All these places are, for all these people working in these mines, it's critical. And plus, I want to add something. I know South Africa, in South African mining industry, coal mining is the most transformed industry. So we have many black-owned mining companies that they make their own decisions. They don't even have any white shareholding in it. Be it supplying coal to Eskom or supplying coal to Sasol, and some of them are even the RVCT shareholders. So it's a critical industry for the transformation of the mining industry in South Africa. So there are so many socio-economic aspects. We need to keep coal mining industry alive.
Thank you. Thank you, Tate Ramano. My question to you, and I think that you deserve to add a little bit second to you for innovating, because I think in South Africa there are very few like you that have innovated and have involved the different, call it different role players in the industry. And I know it's been a long, hard journey. What do you think from a policy point of view that the government can help entrepreneurs like yourself, especially on the far side of innovation where funding is typically not available? What can government do to have a cohesive strategy and policy to help those entities? Thank you.
Thank you. But I think I need to just say something to my friend Veslav here. You know, the issue is not to mine or not to mine. That is not the question. I think we get a little bit mixed up about whether we mine or we don't mine. No, that is not the question. The question for me is, what sort of mining are we talking about? If mining results in ill health, if mining results in water pollution, if mining results in air pollution, then we have a problem as people. And I think the Constitution, Section 24, protects the citizens of the country from the adverse effects of mining. Mining is fundamental to society. I can give you a presentation on mining to show you how fundamental, even the lipsticks that you use, the ladies, are a product of mining. So we're not talking about that. So we just need to find a mining philosophy that is in consonance with everything else. The challenge that we had is South Africa does not promote innovation. We are followers. We follow the West. If the West says this, we go that way. If the West says go left, we go left. We don't say, can we innovate and do something of our own? Hydrogen is one of the most, for energy security, is one of the most amazing opportunity for the country. We will be installing a 10 megawatt hydrogen facility in East London. But I'm based here in Gauteng. Nobody is watching and listening. We will be doing something in the Western Cape, in Cape Town. But here where we are based, they are not looking at it. So there is a fundamental disjunct between innovation and good solutions for the country. And we need support from government for that.
Thank you, Dade. Abuti Sipo. I think you are both a user, a very big user of energy. Therefore, you are impacted by any insecurity that we see in the country. But also, you talked about potential opportunities. Given that we have entrepreneurs here, I'll give you another chance to give us a shot of that if you didn't say enough on that. So, as a user of energy, are you looking at alternatives? You mentioned hydro. What other alternatives are you looking at to make sure that you're self-reliant? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Program Director. I just want to throw in the numbers in here to assist entrepreneurs that are here in terms of the, opportunities that will come with our IPP. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 373 megawatts is not a lot of power, but I mean, every drop of energy, is there a drop of energy? Every drop of water, every drop of energy goes a long way. So what we're going to do with our value chain, as I indicated, in terms of sources of electricity, we're going to segment it and fragment it in areas. Our first source of energy or energy requirement is with regards to the purification of water and the pumping thereof. from our pump stations. Here we're talking, at least from the two purification works that are based south of Gauteng, in Vereeniging. We're talking north of about 120 megawatts. This is now for the purification works. If you look at the demands in that southern north, we're talking about 180 megawatts. So those that want to potentially supply us with electricity in the south of Gauteng, energy, if that is the right term, to help us to pump, those are the opportunities that exist in the south part of Johannesburg, 180 megawatts. So centrally, in around Joburg South, as you lead towards the north, which is our central node, we're talking about 160 megawatts. That will include major booster stations in that regard, because after we pump water, we have to boost it further. So those are the opportunities that exist, and in the north, we're talking about 33 megawatts. So what are we looking at? I think while we wait for assistance externally, as I indicated, we're talking about hydro, but we are having quite a number of diesel generators out there. We want to move away from that, obviously, but we still need to support, provide power to our pump stations. We are also looking at solar. At some of our stations, we have solar power, but we believe we can do a lot more with that. So those are the opportunities and some of the things that we're looking at. We also want to be innovative around the issues of non-revenue water. I indicated that municipalities lose about 33% of water that we give them, which is 1.7 billion liters of water a day that comes from the water that we have pumped, that has got carbon footprint. In terms of our new model, as part of our horizontal integration into the distribution network through special purpose vehicles, we want to fix the leaks. We want to reduce non-revenue water. That will then give us the benefit of ensuring that we reduce carbon footprint. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jacques, yeah, today we're talking about energy security, sovereignty, and just transition. I would like to know from you, as one of the big users, obviously, of electricity, obviously you also provide solutions in there. From an energy planning point of view, Lungile earlier on said something about we planning for 1% or something like that. What are the things or what are the pains that from a user you are seeing, and what are the solutions that you could recommend if you were with, obviously you provide solutions through private sector engagements with government, but if you were to outline where should South Africa go without mimicking everyone?
Thank you. So I think that I did comment on the immediate investments to alleviate the energy security shortfall. I think when we look at a contribution, the word sustainable is not the replacement for decarbonization. So if we say it's sustainable energy value chain, you need to look at generation, and I think a lot of the discussions and debate on generation side, but transmission distribution is as important. As Vodacom, our energy profile, we buy about 20% directly from Eskom, 80% we buy from municipalities. Now, if we put down for any, whether it's residential or commercial, put down embedded, small-scale embedded generation, so a panel on your roof, if you take a 20-year view, that's impacting municipal revenue. So if you look at the REAP bid window 5, it's about 49 cents kilowatt hour rate for sun and 42 for wind. On a blended basis, on a municipal level, as a resident or as a customer or as a business, you pay about R2.10 to R2.23. So the bulk of the value chain, if you look at the money side, is actually in the transmission distribution. So if we say there's 6 gigawatt of capacity, rooftop capacity being installed in residential areas, that is 6 gigawatt capacity, so divide that by 3, so on average about 2 gigawatt base load that municipalities are not distributing in future. Now in South Africa, if you look at the most recent SALGA report, between 26 to 29% on average of municipal revenue is energy supply. In some cases, it goes up to 38, 39%. So embedded generation is, yes, a solution for me as an individual, for my household, and it's maybe a solution for my business, but it's not a solution for the collective. So sustainable, and this is why I agree with the topic of innovation. If we refer to sustainable energy value chain, it needs to be sustainable for the collective, for all citizens, residential and business. And I think this is where we would encourage and again see our role as an enabler of innovating and introducing new business models, new financing models, new funding models, models to de-risk the existing investment for innovators, for entrepreneurs to develop new decentralized generation capabilities like we've seen a very good example today. So I think the contribution is really to work towards a sustainable energy solution. The endowment is there. We've got hydrogen. We're one of the best countries next to Mauritania, and I think there's one more in the Sahara region, with respect to hydrogen potential. We've got the salt water, we've got the sun. That's a game we should play as South Africans, and it should be South African businesses that invest in that new value chain. And I think when we look at the energy value chain, and we've seen one good example today, I'm extremely excited about the potential going forward of really innovating and ensuring that we participate in that value chain as South African businesses and not leave it for international businesses to come and solve our energy problem in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. I think that was really a good discussion. And now we're going to hand over to our audience to ask questions. Please work with me. I don't even have 1 minute for each person. Work with me, please, so that, the drama queen in me doesn't come out. Okay. Who's having the mics? I recognize a hand here. I recognize a hand there. And then right at the back is the third one. The first one is this one. Over to you, sir. 0 seconds. Where's the mic? Okay, the one at the back, you can start. Then we'll
I've
come
got
to
a
this one.
mic.
Yeah, this one.
My question, Sipho, congratulations for taking rainwater from good to great. I think that's an exemplary leadership of how SOE must be managed.
Thank you. Question, please.
And my question is, this tender system discouraged innovation like that Demashood is saying. He has come with a product of hydro electricity generation. I think you must do a POC with him. To Mr. Mbele there, the department has a problem in terms of occupational health, and I don't think that you have a good statistics in terms of how mining is polluting, and people are using a HOHA system to make South Africa to go to energy transition, of which developed countries like South Korea still use coal, say 70%. What I'm saying,
Thank you, sir.
is
Thank
there
you, sir.
must be integrated or mixed energy in the system.
Thank you, sir. Next one. That side.
Okay.
I'll come to you.
Okay. Can I talk?
Yes,
Chair?
please.
Yes. Our production paradigm has made production in this country very uncompetitive.
Sir, please don't start with a preamble. Go to your question.
Okay.
Please. I've got 3 minutes.
DG, I've not heard you speak about gas-based industrialization. I did not hear you speak of that because it will assist a great deal. The second one, the micro production systems as presented by Mashudu Ramano. I've not even heard you speak of that because in areas where there's no grid, they will work. But as part of our industrialization and energization of the country, you have said nothing. Let me leave it at that for now.
Thank you, sir. One question per person. Thank you. That said, there, please, can you help the mic and this one?
I've got a mic. My name is Dumi Khomo.
Yeah.
I just
where,
want to.
where are you?
I'm
Oh,
here.
okay.
My name is Dumi Khomo. I'm from EPCM Global Engineering. The cleaning of use of coal is actually advantageous for South Africa because
Allow me to say that South Africa has been